everyone, and welcome to the first Q&A of the year from us here at Chronowire Studios. Today, we'll be answering some of the questions you've been asking about our lovely game devoted to a blue box. Today, I am joined by Fabian and Keazen, who have each recorded their own answers to help give you insight straight from the development team.
Hello everyone. I am pleased to be a part of the first Q&A of the year.
So after about 20 minutes, I would say, I got my answers written down. Do whatever you need to do with the audio, James. You'll do great. Surely.
Thanks for that, buddy. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the questions. To start with, we have a couple questions and answers from Fabian.
First question. What was your original vision for the Untitled TARDIS game, and how has it evolved since launch? Well, my original idea for, then just the TARDIS, now TUTG, was basically like a TARDIS simulator, you could say. Like having simple flying around with the TARDIS, with different interiors and exteriors, with stunning visual and auditorial quality, which has not been really seen by many TARDIS and or Doctor Who games, even made by the BBC. Outside of the now gone Adventures in Time game from Triangulum Softworks. I mean, it has evolved to one of the biggest and most ambitious Roblox TARDIS simulator since the TARDIS minigame in Doctor Who Edge of Time, or Reality, depends on which game you played from Maze Theory. All thanks to the wonderful team behind Chronowire Studios, like James, Keazen, Sasha, and many more. Question 2. Was there a moment when you realized the project was becoming bigger than you ever expected? Oh, definitely. That's a clear short answer. Definitely. There was a point at which I wouldn't and really couldn't work on TUTG anymore due to like stuff in real life and having to work pretty much all day, and my non-knowledge about, Lua, the programming language used in Roblox Studio. I will not say when I stopped working on TUTG though. I am still kind of involved, I would say. Question 3. Which Doctor Who episode or era inspired you the most when shaping the game? Capaldi's era, without doubt. Peter Capaldi was my favorite Doctor and favorite era of Doctor Who, especially season 9 and 10. The lighting, the spaceshipiness of his TARDIS, the drama and music, everything was just chef's kiss, perfect. Question 4. How do you balance staying true to canon with creative freedom? Well, can't really tell you much about that except for lighting, music, and the look, the visuals, I guess. Question 5. What motivated you to start this project in the first place? Was it fandom, curiosity, or both? Well, mostly curiosity, yeah. I saw some cool guy, James, talk about scripting the TARDIS and wanted to learn about it. That was well over 5 years ago in a Discord from Triangulum Softworks, which made the Adventures in Time game. It was kind of fun, to be honest. I was very young, naive, and what I would call wissbegierig in German. Look it up. WISSBEGIERIG. It was the curiosity of scripting in Roblox, creating stuff for others to see. that was what inspired me, you could say, to like do stuff on Roblox. And yet I mostly model stuff instead of like scripted. Lol. Question 7. How do you personally measure success for the game beyond player numbers? YouTube videos, forum posts, user-generated content, you could say. Like everything the community creates to make others aware of the untitled Taurus game. Like human interaction and communication, you could say. Yeah. Question 9. Do you see the Untitled Taurus game as more of a passion project or a stepping stone to bigger Roblox titles? Well, to be perfectly honest, it's both. It's both. TUTG is a chaotic passion project. The kind of thing you work on at 2 a.m. because you suddenly have a brilliant idea that absolutely cannot wait. James knows what I talk about, and Keazen too, I would say. Sasha too. Never forget Sasha. He will get angry, I think. But it's also a huge step forward for me as a developer. Everything I built in this game teaches me something new and opens doors to future projects on Roblox and maybe beyond. So yes, it's Chronowire Studios beloved nerd baby and stepping stone to bigger, possibly even more chaotic titles. Don't really have any other questions saved.
Alright, thank you for that, Fabian. Now, we'll be moving on to Keazen, so enjoy the Frenchman.
The first question I will be answering for this Q&A is how long does it usually take to make the TARDISes and code them? It is a great question because it depends. If we take Classic Who, for example, the shapes are not complicated. We already know what to do. We already have the assets, most of it. So it will take maybe 5 weeks maximum. It's not that complicated for us. Like I said, we have everything, and what we are doing right now is just revamping them with the new assets, so it's fine. If we are talking about New Who, it's something more complicated because the shapes are complicated, and it is something that you have to take your time, because if you rush it, it will be weird, and we don't want that. So I would say for New Who, it will take at least a few months, depending on how many people who are working on this project, on this TARDIS. But yeah, it's something like that, a couple of months. In terms of coding, I'm not quite sure, but I think it will take maybe a week maximum, because it's not that complicated. We already know what to do. We have a system. We just have to implement it, and that's it. The second question I will be answering is, will you be adding locations, and what other worlds can we expect in the future release? Well, in the roadmap you can see that we are planning to make some Tyrant spaceships. For the moment it is planned. We have done nothing yet, but it will come this year, that's for sure. For other locations, yes, we thought about a few ones. I will be working on later this week or next week, I don't know yet, but I will make a new location. I will start to make a new one. It will be quite massive, so for the moment I tell you nothing. You will be informed as soon as possible, but for the moment it's a top secret project. So yeah, for other locations, if we are adding a new one, you will be informed directly on the group or the roadmap. The third question is, what strategies do you use to keep the community engaged between major updates? Well, to me, I think it's mostly communication. If we are working on a big update, major or not, I don't know, let's just say that. But if we are working on an update and there's no news, no communication from us, then we make something called a development update. Through the entire month, we write in a textbook everything we have done, everything we are working on and everything we are planning for the future. So it gives you an idea on what we want to do and how 5.0 will look like. I can't tell you much right now, but it's going to be a massive update. There's a lot of new stuff coming in, and I'm really excited for you to see. The fourth question is, can you add a side room to the first Doctor's TARDIS and just in general add more rooms to the TARDIS? I can't tell you much, but yes, rooms are planned. We are thinking of adding new features to the TARDIS, so it will be more alive. But yeah, I think you'll be really interested with what's coming next. The fifth question is, what gave you the inspiration and determination to keep going, apart from the obvious of liking Doctor Who? Well, I do like Doctor Who, of course. It's my childhood, and there's so many bits I love. I could talk about it forever. But the inspiration and determination mainly is I always wanted to make a game. I was in the process of making one, but then the development has stopped. So now the project is gone. And James asked me if I wanted to join his team, and I gladly accepted because I know them all. They are my friends, and they are really nice, honestly. They let me do whatever I want, basically, and this is why I'm currently redoing all the classic Who assets in the game. So the TARDISes and maybe locations in the future, who knows. For the final question from my part of the Q&A, what's your process for brainstorming new features? Do you start from lore, gameplay mechanics, or community requests? Well, we talk a lot in private about new features, new locations, what we are planning to do, what we should do, etc. But when we don't have any ideas, we just look on the suggestions channel. And thanks to you guys, we have a lot of ideas. And some of your ideas are actually planned in the 5.0 update. I can't tell you. Obviously, it will be a surprise. But yeah, I think the community input is really important, especially in this kind of game. And it is very impressive because there's a lot of players who are talking to us about new suggestions, etc. And to me, this is why I keep working on this game, because you guys motivate me. It is a pleasure to work for you guys. My part of the Q&A is now done. I would like to thank you all for the motivation you gave us and for all your ideas. I can tell you just one thing. I will see you soon in the next couple of weeks for the next development update. And on my end, development will start again this week. Thank you all again, and see you soon.
Alright, and with that wraps up Keazen's section of the Q&A. Now, we will move on to my section. The moment everyone's been waiting for, I'm sure. Question 1. Will you be adding any new enemies to the game, such as Daleks, Cybermen, and their respective ships? Yes, more enemies are planned. In the initial 5.0 release, we'll be introducing Dalek invasions and Cyber invasions, with even more planned post-launch. Players will be able to enter these ships to disable the invasions. While there, just make sure to grab any loot you may find, as it will be useful for the new crafting mechanic. Question 2. Will you ever add multiple rooms to the TARDIS, like the pool and library? Maybe a wardrobe or the Eye of Harmony? Also, will you ever try to do the bigger on the inside effect like Pro TARDIS? Sorry if I've asked a lot. Hello! Thanks for the questions, and no, you definitely haven't asked a lot. We do plan to add additional rooms using a new mechanic introduced in 5.0. However, these rooms will function as a sort of shared space. I can't necessarily go into full detail just yet, but we've developed new tech that will allow us to introduce things like toggable rooms deeper within the TARDIS. Stay tuned, there's more to come about this. Question 3. What role does the community play in development? Have you ever adopted ideas directly from players? Absolutely! We love adopting ideas from the community. We handle suggestions a bit differently than some other games, however. The way it works for us, players can submit ideas through a suggestion form on our Discord server, where the community can then vote on them. The more upvotes a suggestion gets, the higher the chance it has of being added. So if you submit an idea, don't be afraid to share it around. The next question is, what lessons have you learned from other projects that influenced your development approach? So funny enough, and definitely the number one, deadlines. Never publicly announce a feature release date until it's almost fully implemented. Thankfully, our community has been very understanding when we've made mistakes like this, and we have learned from them. Also, as Fabian mentioned, not hiring random strangers without more than 10 minutes of background checks. Question number 5. How do you handle disagreements with the team when deciding on the design directions? Similar to how we handle suggestions, we vote internally. Everyone gets a say, and whichever option receives the most votes becomes the final decision. So if I decide I want something implemented one way, and Sasha decides he would like something implemented another way, whoever gets the highest votes on that gets the way implemented. Question 6. Are there plans to expand beyond the TARDIS into other Doctor Who elements, such as companions, villains, planets, etc.? Yes, we're planning on a companion system, where players can be invited by a TARDIS pilot to become their companion. Companions may be granted access to controls if isomorphic controls are enabled, or allowed to use the TARDIS key depending on the pilot's permissions. The pilot will be able to customize what companions can do, such as summoning the TARDIS, using controls, or adjusting components. As for villains, we've introduced a few NPCs from the show in 5.0. However, much like with the planets, we aim to keep most content unique to our own universe, which exists parallel to the main show. Question 7. What's one feature you scrapped that you'd love to revisit someday? For that, I would say either time travel beyond what will exist in 5.0, or maybe trying to revisit Big on the Inside. Unfortunately, with today's technology, that just is not possible. Question 8. Will there be any more additions to the secret underground room at Cardiff, or is it going to stay as it currently is? Yes, we have plans to update that location. This is something we definitely want to go back and improve upon over time. And that wraps up all of my section. Thank you to everyone who has submitted questions, and a huge thank you to Fabian and Keazen for taking the time to share their answers. We really appreciate the continued support, and we're excited to show you more as development continues. We'll see you in the next update.